Welcome back. You may not know that motor vehicle crashes are the leading cause of traumatic workplace deaths in this province. And that is the topic today of our Worksafe BC segment. So we have Patrick Davey joining us to talk a little bit about that. It's great to have you back on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Worksafe, being safe on the job driving is very important. So many of us drive. I know in our newsroom, we're out all the time driving in our news vehicles.
Yeah.
It's a part of a lot of people's jobs.
So, the Road Safety at Work initiative is promoted by Worksafe, and really its goal is to eliminate work-related road side crashes and the traumatic injuries and deaths that occur from that. In that initiative, there's also a Road Safety at Work week. Of course, that ran later or earlier in the month, but really it's about ensuring your workers are safe on the road all year round. It's about making it a priority in your organization for people that drive for you, safety aspect.
Okay, so what are the initiatives that are underway right now by Worksafe BC to get out this message?
Well, we, again, there's a lot of resources on the Road Safety at Work website, but really the reason why we're doing this too is, as you spoke to earlier, it's a huge issue. When we look at, on average, every year there are 21 worker deaths and over 1,339 worker serious accidents related to MVIs, motor vehicle incidents. That's 33% of all traumatic injuries for the board comes from MVIs. And when we think of traumatic injuries, we usually think about somebody falling off a roof because they're not wearing fall protection, or somebody getting caught in equipment in a mill or something like that. But for many employees, driving is the most hazardous part of the job for them. And reducing the risk for employees is the right thing to do, because the traumatic and financial consequences of an incident is huge. And really, the cost of doing nothing is too high.
So what are the elements of a good road safety plan?
So if you go on the website, you're going to find a template for the road safety plan that's going to have a lot of elements in it. I won't go through all the elements, but it really addresses a few of the issues that you can make differences with your workers that are driving every day. One of them is doing a hazard assessment and a hazard inventory and risk assessment. When do they drive? Where do they drive? Are they driving on public roads, resource roads? Taking a look at that. Vehicle preparedness, that means maintenance, but it also means we have sometimes horrendous summer and winter conditions. It's about being ready for that. How about policies on distracted driving? How big is that right now? And a lot of times when we have people delivering things, what are they doing? They're answering a call from their dispatcher while they're driving. So having policies that talk about distracted driving. How about fatigue management? Look at these transport drivers. How about driving alone? Educating your people. A lot of these people you see driving for work now are young and new workers. Pizza delivery drivers.
So true.
Automotive supplies. Having policies about young and new workers and driving qualifications, and finally looking at emergency procedures and preparedness. So there's a lot of things inside this template that you can look at and match it up with what you do. And when you find hazards, you find some controls, and this is a great place to find it. Also on the website, there are not only these resources, but there's online free courses to take in action plans and how to make your driving situation for your employees better.
And as an employee, you have the right to say, I'm not comfortable doing this. The weather's too severe, or I feel endangered, I'm too tired.
Yeah. You
have to speak up.
And so that's it. That's the right to refuse work. And really the first line of defense is going to your supervisor and defining that. Just because you don't want to do something, that's one thing, but you need to define what the issue is. Go to your supervisor, because that person is probably the person that can control those hazards.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to bring up?
I think I said it before that there's a lot of resources on the Road Safety at Work .ca website, and really for a lot of these controls and elements in your company, individual companies, it might not be for everybody, every element, but there are some things that you can do to make a difference, because like I said before, the cost of doing nothing is too high. An
interesting stat here, workers injured in crashes are off work longer, an average of 86 days, compared to workers that are injured in other ways on the job. That's an average of 54 days. So
now just remember, it's not always the people you think are getting injured. When we look at the 33%, 42% of those are what you'd expect. Transport drivers, right? Okay, That's the top one. The third one is really the people that work on the highways, like traffic control people. What do you think is the third or second? Healthcare, social services workers. These are people that are on the road all the time. And really, in a 5-year period, where we look at that, they had 10% of the injuries and over 677 motor vehicle incidents. So it's time to take a look at what we can do to make it better.
Absolutely, and reduce the numbers. Patrick Davey, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. If you have any more questions about this issue, something that affects you or your employees, if you are an employer, you can certainly look online at worksafebc.com. We're back after a quick break. Stay with us.